So it's not often I get to come up to the podium here to address the council, but I've done it once or twice before for the same purpose. And just reflecting on Councilman Atkinson and thinking about what should be said today, I pulled up a set of meeting minutes.
Uh-oh.
From January 18th, 1988. First meeting Councilman Atkinson was sworn in on was January 4th, but much like tonight, they'll swear him in and then pretty much close the meeting. But I went and thought I'd take a look at some of the first action items that we had as newly elected council member back almost 30 years ago. And I've since found out that that was our current mayor's first year of college, and it was your manager's last year of 8th grade.
There were several years.
I didn't say how many. That was last year. Anyway, things were done a little bit different. We were not under the council manager form of government, so we had a lot of different reports and committee reports, and those meetings went through a lot of those reports. But the first time we heard from Councilman Atkinson, and I'll just read off some of these minutes. I won't read through them all, but FRDO member at large. And of course, I had no idea what the FRDO was until, so I had to do some research on that, but the Flathead Regional Development Organization. And as Mayor Kennedy announced, the board has accepted the appointment of Charles Manning as the member at large and requested the council confirm the appointment. Councilman Schindler moved confirmation. Councilman Atkinson seconded, and the motion carried. And what it should have said in parentheses, carried on the strength of that second, the very first one. Directly right after that, wasn't an action except for a vote by Councilman Atkinson, but was the appointment of Mr. Baker as Parks and Recreation was on that very evening. Then we approved an engineer for the Southwest Area Project, which I believe was a stormwater project, but wasn't directly related in here, but it was just a little bit different process as stormwater has evolved through now. Then as the council meeting went along, council approved claims, pledged securities, transferred funds, set a date for a committee meeting. Again, all things that have kind of evolved under different forms of government. Then we get to the first motion that was made by Councilman Atkinson, and that was to move the second reading of salary ordinance number 1118. And I believe we're up in the 1,800s now in terms of our ordinances. Then Councilman Atkinson moved for Don Klepper to be hired as the council negotiator for 1988 and 89. Councilman Savarud seconded that respective motion. Then we get down through mayor's reports and into some other action items. Had the Councilman Nystall moved for the support of the FRDO budget. Councilman Atkinson seconded that one. And then the final activity by Councilman Atkinson that night was Councilman Atkinson expressed his appreciation of the commendation from Chief Clark to 3 of his officers for their work in solving a string of burglaries. So I just reflected on some of those things and realized how simple the things were in here, but in reality the purpose that Councilman Atkinson has brought through my time here was always directly related to the development of the community, and I can see why those were some of the first actions with the FRDO. And then I went to look and see what the most recent ones were from the previous meetings, and did not surprise me to see Councilman Atkinson move for the adoption of the downtown plan. And so many of our discussions, I remember first time going for coffee as I'd meet with individuals, and we talked so much about development and downtown and meaning and purpose for the community and the excitement, and just reflection of kind of, I think, where intent has been and how the community will benefit for years into the future because of that purpose and that intent. And it is just an honor to work with people that are committed to public service and to community, and to work with people of integrity and intent. And it's been my honor to work just these past 5 years, but hopefully it's been the community's honor to work for these past 30 with Councilman Jim Atkinson.
I get to say something?
Comments? Yes.
Thanks, that was awful nice. If I'd have known what troubles Baker caused us, we'd have never probably, no. You know, it's been a pleasure to serve my community as a city councilman over the last 29 years. As I think back on all the changes of those years, I'm amazed at the growth in so many areas. Why, back in '88, there was still Buffalo on Buffalo Hill. Of course, that was 1888, but Home Depot was a gravel pit. The Armory was south of town. The airport was almost out of town. Gambling was not allowed in town, and town was certainly not from Church Drive down to Rocky Point Drive. We didn't have to chlorinate our water. Our solids from the wastewater treatment plant, we would dredge into a field south of town. Don't get away with that anymore. And we never heard of those dreaded letters, TMDL. Weren't those the days? We used to take our in-laws to the Outlaw Inn, and we ate at places like Frank's Byright, Alton Pierce, the Jordan, the Park Inn, Sykes and Norm's. Oh yeah, we can still eat there. Tax increment helped our schools. Tax increment was great. The one tool that we really had to do good things for our community. They helped our schools, helped our library, our downtown businesses, our sports complexes, the historical buildings, our disabled population, our housing shortages, and a myriad of other entities that made our community stronger, better, and more viable. And we have done all of this in a very civil and respectful manner, partly because our government is predicated on civility and integrity and the Judeo-Christian principles that make us who we are. But mostly because we, in Kalispell, care for one another. We care for how our town looks and acts and stands for high morals. So I'm proud and humbled to be a part of such a forward-thinking, hard-working staff and administration. Has always been been present in the city of Kalispell. Thank you for those 29 years, this opportunity. The Lord has a plan for me, and I don't know what it is yet, but we'll see. And I just, at this point, would like to say God bless all of you, and God bless Kalispell. Thank you.